Okay, we're now ready to start the meeting. I think that it's actually going. We should be online. We're doing things a little differently. Anyone remote, you'll see we're in a very small room today. But we've got lots of people that showed up, and we will go through a few things at the beginning. Did you have anything you want to say?
I'm good. I'm recovering from travel.
Okay, so the main thing that I'm just going to say is next month's competition is already open. It started on the 5th, but you have until the 16th to get pictures in for macro photography. We kept it on the normal schedule, even though we're meeting in an off week this time. So you've got another week to get pictures in for that, and then voting will begin on the 17th through the 30th. And our meeting is August 1st, where we will see the results. And we can get straight into the competition today. And all right, so right now we're doing monochrome photography, and we just got 3 this time in the basic category. It's the summer, and a lot of people are busy, but this is also something that some people is sort of news to them. But that's one of the reasons why we have all these different competitions with different ideas, so you try new things. So we'll go through the pictures quickly. When in the meeting, Bill talked about monochrome doesn't have to just be black and white, just one set of colors. And so this is one that's a wash in orange, close-up of a flower. Water Ripple
Rorschach.
I can't even say it. And the USS, or Lexington. Okay, so now the judges can talk about it.
Okay. Larry, this was yours.
Okay, I wrote down that, let's see, I'll skip over the part that nobody's going to like. Or everybody's going to say I'm too judgmental.
You're judgmental.
I like the image for its striking appeal, and I found it to be slightly soft and had a little exposed, overexposed. The highlights were just a little too bright, but I liked what they were going for. I kept it short and sweet.
You kept it short and sweet. That's not fair.
Only because I left out the part that would make me too judgmental.
I see. Larry is not judgmental. So, okay. A wash in orange. I thought this was a wonderful image. I like the balance of the light and the dark from the upper left-hand corner down to the lower right-hand corner. I thought that was a pretty nifty thing that the maker did. And boy, is this really interesting to read this and try to look, cross-eyed. Okay. Yeah, and I really enjoyed it because I allowed I see it as the viewer's eye could wander up and down that central petal and or find the water spot, the water drop that's there. I gather that the maker left the white dots on there on a regular, like a 16-inch or 20-inch screen that doesn't show up that prominently as it does here. But that would be my only thing, is the white dots, which are probably part of the flower or reflection off of the flower, are a little bit bothersome. I liked it otherwise.
Yeah, well, I agree. It's a very interesting image. I kind of wanted more of a focal point. When I looked at it, I really thought that the drop of water was actually the more interesting thing, and it's kind of shoved over to the side, whereas the brightest part is off in the top left corner. So I kind of thought it kind of conflicts with itself a little bit. So I would have thought I would have liked to see it either cropped in a little more closely, or somehow focused on the water drop. There we go. See if the pointer actually works. Yes. Okay. I would like to see that as a little more prominently in the image, and yeah, if I was doing this image, I would have definitely gone back and spotted it. I would have, and you do a little cloning on all those little white spots, which are very distracting. But otherwise, a very interesting image. maybe a little more, I don't know, I'd like a little more detail. I said that looking at my own monitor, it's kind of, seems kind of hollow here, but
Maybe a little more texture?
yeah, I mean, the texture shows up nicely here on a
Yeah.
huge screen, but you know, certainly on my 30-inch, which isn't a small monitor, on my 30-inch monitor at home, that didn't show up nearly as much. So I would have liked a little more detail.
And that was why, a lot of why I thought it was a little soft, was because I know a lot of pedals have a lot more texture to them than that.
Well, and I hesitate, you know, and I'm kind of like, okay, crop it in a little bit, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm thinking it may have already been cropped in, you know, so you crop it in anymore, you know, and then it,
And that could actually be the problem.
could be the reason why you think
Right.
it's soft is because it's cropped in too much, you know. So, you know, this is a subject for macro, which is next month. Anyway, so so we had fun with the orange image.
This one's yours.
Ah, yes. Well, so Rorschach, the Rorschach image. My problem with this, I mean, I thought it was a very interesting image with all the detail and the repetition in the ripples, but again, you know, my problem was I'm looking for a subject here. Now, so from the title, I'm thinking I'm supposed to look at this and see something, you know, and different people see different somethings, and that tells my psychologist something about me. I don't see anything, so I'm not sure what that says about me.
You're dull, Charles, you're dull.
Apparently, I just see ripples in the water. I mean, it's a nice, you know, nice image, a really nice image as far as that goes. But I keep going. I want a subject, and I don't see one.
Okay. I also like the randomness of the waves or ripples in the water. The one thing I thought of on this was that the top of the image needed to go away. Maybe making this into a horizontal 9:16 crop type of thing would have been something to do, and take the center of the image, or maybe a little bit lower than center on it, might have made a more interesting image, quite frankly. And also, again, I love the fact that Ty did an excellent job setting up this screen, because that's a contrast that I've not seen. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, because that's really good looking. In my comments, I was going to say, yeah, a little dehaze and boosting of the contrast, but I don't think so. That image looks really good. So yeah, I would have tried cropping a little bit differently and adding, you know, or subtracting away from it. And so yeah.
And I'm pretty much with you on this. I think the top 25 to 30% basically can go away. And I really, really like the tonal rendition in here. The tones and the texture of the water really jump out at me real nice. It's a real nice concept.
Yeah, the tonal range was very well done. I mean, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not a bad image. I keep looking for it. I think it's a wonderful background.
But if you
composite subject in here, and we're good.
But if you put a walnut or a little rubber duck or something in there, it would just take away the whole thing.
Oh, I'm not sure about the rubber duck thing. Anyway, okay.
Maybe just taking Rorschach off the title would, you know,
Yeah, it would help.
would help. Then we wouldn't be looking for something.
Okay.
So, okay, the Lexington.
I think that's you.
That's me. Oh, okay, so it did show up the way it showed up on my screen. Okay. There was a movie once made.
I know where you're going.
Yep.
I know where you're going.
And they used the Forrestal instead of the Lexington to go through it, and the rainbow that's over this was part of that movie. It wasn't really a rainbow, it was, I forgot, what was that?
It was like a time
It was a
tunnel.
storm.
There was a
But I
storm,
think it was-
yeah.
I think it was Final Countdown.
Final
Yes.
Countdown, yes,
The movie.
yeah,
Sad
so,
that I remember that, but.
better
Yes, I mean, it looks
better
like
use it.
we're coming out of the time storm.
Yeah, yeah, and being the Lexington, which was active when I was in the Navy, yeah, it does really kind of, it's like, whoops, it's coming out of the time storm, you know, so, okay, moving right along with that. The use of a long lens on this and the compression of the total length of the flight deck was rather interesting in and all of itself. It's a great shot of the ship. The thing that bothers me the most about it is there's no detail in the hull, in the shadowed hull. We're not seeing anything, and the hull has a lot of there's a lot of different things going on in that hull. A lot of openings that could be shown. If you move over to the left, right about there, that's a little bit further. That's an elevator, and that goes into the hangar deck underneath. But I'm not asking for detail inside the hangar deck. I just looking for some detail in the hull. The masking on this is a tough one to mask, and that's what we're seeing on the mast is that difficulty in masking the image because you've got white shadowing up there at the top and a white shadowing on the tails of the aircraft, things of that nature. So I think it's a wonderful image in that it's a great attempt to photograph this ship. But I'm going to get in trouble now because I'm going to be too picky, and so yeah. I can't say that I ever photographed it when I was in the Navy, but I sure did see it a lot. So, oh well, I'm going to stop there before I get myself deeper in a hole.
I have a question.
Yes,
All the concentric circles.
that's what we were talking
That's-
about.
We're
This.
talking about, we consider that to be
A time
defect.
storm.
Well,
From masking?
from
Yeah,
a photographic
It's-
point of view, it's a defect.
It's-
You really don't want that to be showing up in your image. This is something that post-processing generated, you know? And then he's talking about and then he's also talking about you see around around the,
especially up at the top.
yeah,
Fringing.
right, but you can
Yeah,
see there's like haloing around the masts and around this. So several things I would be suggesting to the, okay, but several things that I would be suggesting to the photographer here would be, one, and pardon me, it looks to me like this was shot really in the heat of the day, you know, with full sun, and I think a little softer light would probably help. You know, if you catch this a little earlier in the day, you know, and then you get a little side light on the hull, so more of that shows up. I think that would be helpful. This could also be done with a tripod and doing a little HDR, you know, kind of compositing two images together for the high definition. That would help you bring up some of the detail of the hull. The other thing I was going to suggest was, you know, there's to me there was just too much expanse of open water here and, you know, nothing going on up there. Up here, you know, I see the clouds up there, but you should bring them up, okay? I mean, if you're gonna, you know, to make this a more complete image, you bring the clouds up so that they, you know, so that you don't have, so you have more detail up there. You bring that one up so that you actually see some clouds, because they're just barely visible up there. They would help enhance the image. I would have cropped this more as a panorama, you know, rather than 4x6 like this. I think it would benefit by cropping out this.
Yeah, foreground.
Cropping out this foreground here. We didn't really need that. These two little boys of whatever they are sticking up there, just distracting. Clone them out. They don't need to be there. Oh yeah, and over here. windmills. What do windmills got to do with an aircraft carrier? I would have cloned them out too.
Big propellers.
They're pushing the wrong direction, Patrick.
Well, there's one on the back.
Yeah, there's one, that's the one that's helping push it, you know? It has-
Okay, so we're doing a Marvel comic now?
That's the fan there.
Yes, yeah. Fantail, you got it, that's it.
They're put on bumps.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else you want to say about that, Larry?
The only thing I've got to add is just waiting later in the day, because this obviously is midday. I could tell by the shadows underneath the wings that it was midday. If they would have waited till later in the day, they would have got more side light.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
earlier or later. I'm kind of
Right.
not sure what the orientation of the Lexington is down there.
The
I
bow
was-
is basically pointed south.
Oh, okay, well, he's right then, afternoon. I was thinking it was oriented the other way, so, yeah.
And that's all I got to
So
add.
if you ever shoot a ship, ships are about 25% gray, give or take, 30. Aircraft are probably about 10% gray. So that's why I kind of came down on the shadowing.
You're suggesting we don't need a gray card?
You don't need a gray card on board on board a U.S. Navy vessel, no. So if you're ever someplace where they have Fleet Week, just remember that the ship is about 18 to 20% gray all the time.
Okay, I only got one more thing. It would have been better if it would have been more of a quartering shot than almost broadside.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay.
We've had a good time beating this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure. Thank you. I mean, we like, don't get us wrong here. We like the image.
Yeah, in general, we
But then we
just,
had to critique, sorry.
yeah.
Okay, so now we have the judge's pick. Because we only had 3 images, we have one first place winner, and that is the Lexington.
See, told you we liked it.
That's a pretty good curveball.
So now we'll go through the Viewer's Choice Awards.
Whose image was that?
Bronze, clay.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, whose image was the aircraft carrier?
Mine.
Oh,
This is,
When we get through this, then you can tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah.
So right now, this is the bronze. Clay, not here today.
not here today. I had to bring the badges, sorry.
And silver went to Leslie.
Okay.
And Dennis with the gold medal. I'm gonna borrow this.
What are you guys doing in basic?
Would you like to say anything about it? And
Now that we beat it up.
how
You probably know this, but that's in Corpus.
Yeah.
And I was tooling down the little road along the waterway by the marina, you know, Corpus Christi Marina and all that. And I thought, this looks like a good angle for a shot of the Lexington. So it was pretty much that simple. It was there when I wanted it to be.
It was there, you were there, and you shot it. Yeah,
Opportunity knocks.
yeah.
You didn't wait 4 hours
What?
for the sun to get just perfect.
and you didn't swim.
should have.
What
You
lens,
didn't swim halfway across the bay so that the water wouldn't show like they want.
Dennis, what lens, what focal length did you use on that?
Now you're asking questions. I'd have to go back and look.
Okay,
Was it
It was a-
zoom?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, Patrick was already talking about the compression from the long
Yeah.
shot, so.
Yeah,
it was-
just wondering. Okay, so we don't know, okay.
Sorry.
I'll get back to you on that.
All right, now we'll quickly go through the 15 images in the intermediate level, and then we'll have the judges critique each one. Okay. Blue Diamond in the Surf. Gristmill, Vermont. Oh no. Face of the former SSW 4019. Assume a Union Pacific locomotive, maybe? What is that?
Arequipa.
Yeah, this is the Arequipa portico.
Okay. 1880s law.
Did you want us to read those? You didn't have a microphone back there.
I have one, but
Yeah.
you can read them. That would be even better.
A very old, dirty car.
That still runs. Got
Yes,
still
it
run.
Stroll through the shadows. Easy route when it was already 95% black and white. Predator. What's up? 1920s versus 2020s. Magnolia bloom. Spider's web revealed. Texas spring number 7. Working up to 7.
All right, so now the judges will do critiques on each one.
Okay, that looks like mine. Blue Diamond in the Surf. I like the movement in the image itself, but I feel like it should be a little smoother as to create more of a flowing without chaos. Slightly longer exposure time would normally be the answer, but I don't know if the ice in the center was moving too much to allow this, and it would cause it to be less sharp. As the ice could stand to be sharper as the way it is, more contrast would improve the overall image as well.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. The ice, I guess that is, in the center, just looks a little blurry. And, you know, it's supposedly the subject of this image. I mean, I like that I like the flow of the water. I think I remember looking at the specs on an image, and I think it was a half-second exposure. You know, so it's already a long exposure, a little bit anyway. Yeah, it just comes across as the subject blurry, and water maybe need to be streaming a little more. But otherwise, it was a really very interesting image. So, you know, props.
And I disagreed wholeheartedly with both of them. I thought that the image, the flow of the water was excellent. I thought it was a really wonderful image. The contrast was where it should be. I liked it. The water, the timing, everything worked out well. Again, but the only issue that I had is the sharpness in the piece of ice. And that's the only issue that I had with it.
All three of us agree on that.
We all agree on the
Yeah.
ice, but we disagree on how the flow should go. So, but, you know, that's okay. That's the way it goes.
Check. Okay, so Bristol, Vermont, I think that's my baby here. I really enjoyed this image. I mean, I enjoyed this image of this gristmill in Vermont, and that title was enough that I went and looked it up on the internet. So I got to see a whole bunch of different views of this same mill in various conditions. The other ones didn't have nearly as much vegetation down front. I just love the geometry of the way that we have this circular wheel here, and we have all the angles of the roof and the siding all coming together and directing your eyes around, and then and then, you know, there's this kind of texture. There's the gusset on the side of the. I'll point it out so you know what I'm talking about. Gusset on the side of the wheel itself, and the siding. There's just so much texture in there, and the gradation. We've got very bright areas. The tonal variation is just really excellent here. And then I was a little put off initially by the vegetation, but then you know, after looking at it for a while, I realized that that actually helped bring the mill into its place. I mean, basically, it made it more part. If it was just naked, it really wouldn't be as much a part of this location. So I like that. The thing that I think bugged me was actually the wires in the top right corner. I would have liked to clone those out if I had anything to say about it. So I thought it was an excellent image, and props to the viewer, to the photographer.
Yeah, the maker person.
Yeah,
That, okay. Oh, I get to play with this. There we go. Sorry, everybody online, I'm having just way too much fun with the equipment. So I agree with Charles on this. This is a lot of things are done well. The texture, the contrast, the tonal range, all of that is excellent. The sky I thought was really nice. The only part on the sky, this is where I deviate from being very nice on all of this, was on the left-hand side of the roof line, there seems to be a halo up there. Nope, down on the, there you go, on the that section. There seems to be slight haloing right in there, but that, you know, the one thing that really kind of got me, there are two things that really got me. One, I believe that the cropping, even though we had a great discussion about this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about it, the cropping to me is way too tight on this image, especially on the left-hand side. That either open that up, show me that there's a 20th century vehicle sitting there, it's okay. It's what was there at the time. You can always clone out that. And the other is that if you're going to photograph a building, make it straight. Buildings don't fall backwards and lean, you know, so you got to do a little perspective correction on that. So those are my two things, you know.
Larry?
And I pretty much agree wholeheartedly with both of you. I mean, I really love the texture. I like the condition that's of the wood that's rendered. I like the shadows coming off the light fixtures right below the roof line there. They all add character to the image. I love the sky, except for, as Patrick pointed out, the little bit of haloing on that back part of the roof, which is also out of geometry with the rest of the picture. But overall, I love the image a lot. The only gripe I had was, as pointed out, was the cropping. And yeah, if there were other things in the image that they didn't want to show, maybe they could have found another way to eliminate them rather than just cropping them out. Because I really would have liked to see more of this rail on the bottom and have that lead you into the image.
Yeah, I disagreed with that part, because when I looked at the other images online, you know, if you backed off, you got a road in it. You basically, you got this wide section of pavement. The other thing that we discussed, and probably don't want to go too far down a rat hole here, is that I wasn't sure this is a real mill, because there's no place for the mill race to come. Okay, I mean, you would expect water to come in up here, and there, if you pull back, I mean, here it looks like there's been some artificial artifice here to pump water up to the top of a mill, and that's not how overshot wheels work. You don't pump the water up there to use it as an impetus. You have the water come down the flume and then dump itself on the wheel to turn it. And if you back off, it's obvious there's no place for that to come from.
Okay, but we're not arguing the
Yeah,
merits of the mill itself.
that's true. That's why we.
All right, moving forward.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see.
That would be Patrick.
That's mine? Oh, no. Oh. That's what it's called.
That's right.
Yeah.
But but oh no.
Oh,
Your turn to
no,
review it.
it's my turn to review it.
Wasn't that what Mr. Bill said?
Oh, no, Mr. Bill. Okay, no, he's at the other end. Okay.
There's no clay in this image. Mr. Bill was clay.
Are we digressing or what?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Again, this, I thank you very much for setting this screen up properly, because it didn't look that nice on mine. So I loved the expression of the fish. Golly, but you couldn't, I mean, no one, you couldn't have gotten better timing than that. I mean, that is fantastic. It's perfectly named and everything. It's now that I see it, it's got, dang, I want the contrast of this screen. Okay, because that was my only thing, was to say that the contrast was a little neat, but it's really not. We've got great contrast in the, I'm assuming Gator, somebody correct? Croc. Okay, okay. I'm not, sorry, I'm not a Texan, so I don't know the difference, you know. One of them things. Okay, so Gator, crocodile, you know.
Moving on.
Yes, I know it's being recorded, yeah, I know. Moving right along, so that's the only thing. The water was kind of like gray, but, you know, it's an overcast day, I'm assuming. So, yeah, next.
What did you think, Larry?
I love the image. The only complaint I had was it's noisy.
Yeah, it has a lot of noise in it, and I don't, my gripe really is its tonal range. It's a very narrow tonal range. I would have liked to see, you know, a broader tonal range on it. It's all centrally gray and white, and there's no darker spots. So.
But that goes back to the noise, because if there was more light, you'd have a greater tonal range.
That's true. So, yeah, I mean, they'll kind of go together there. Would have liked to, my suspicion is with the noise is this has been cropped quite a bit. But it's a great image. It's got that.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's got that, you know, incident thing going on where you've caught the moment.
It definitely has impact.
So,
Yeah.
you know, don't listen to us too much ragging on this. You know, we're picking nits here. We like this image. You know, it's just like, okay, what can we do to make it better?
Okay, I think that's
yours.
mine.
Looked a lot like old Pan X.
Larry?
I'm finding it. Oh, I can't.
Well, while
I
he's
guess I-
looking, I'll go ahead and while you're looking. You want to find? No?
Overall, I liked it. I think it has actually, even though it looks a little dark, I think it still has really nice tonal range. The highlights in the headlights, the dark spots down low where you can see the shadows from the hoses, and underneath the, I don't even know what you call that, where the center comes across that lip up higher where it's,
This?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way it all comes across. And it does look like a face.
Okay. Patrick?
That it does. It is, it's got wonderful tonal range in it. That's, and the face that it creates is interesting, how the maker pulled that out. Maybe they saw it when they walked up to it, maybe they saw it after they got it home and they were looking on their monitor. The interesting thing for me, and it's just on how it was made, was the shadowing on this. It appears as though a flash was used at a lower level and flashing up, because the shadows are, if you look, the hose, this pneumatic, I guess it's a pneumatic hose, there's a shadow behind it, but it's above it. And then the same thing above on the deck, the shadowing is, so it's an interesting lighting concept. I mean, so, yeah.
All right, well, I'm not supposed to, I suppose I'm not supposed to comment it because it's my image, but, you know, the biggest thing wrong with it is there's a typo. This was supposed to be the SSW 8019, which is actually up there written in dirt.
Did we pay any attention to that?
Apparently nobody paid any attention
No, we
to that,
didn't.
which is good, thank you.
Okay, in that case, we knock it down 20 points.
It actually comes out, I'm gonna have to go recalibrate my monitor because this comes out considerably darker than it did on my monitor. But the thing across the middle, for your information, that is not a hose, that's a cable.
Oh, it's a cable.
That's the NU cable that lets multiple locomotives work together. I think I'll shut up because I can talk about trains forever, and I think you know that.
You should explain SSW though.
Okay, so those of you up there, look there at the top, that's obviously the Union Pacific Shield up there. However, SSW stands for St. Louis Southwest and is for the Cotton Belt, which was part of the Southern Pacific. that the Union Pacific bought. So they got this locomotive, renumbered it, repainted it, and this is actually at the Illinois Railroad Museum and is, was given to them. And so somebody obviously did their history and, and wrote the number that it originally was issued with back in the Cotton Belt days in the dirt on the front. And I just love the industrial look of these locomotives like this, so I'll shut up at that point.
Thanks for explaining that.
Okay, this one's mine. Arequipa Portico, and so of course I had to look up Arequipa, and I think Arequipa is in Peru. So, man, that's a trip. Cool. Anyway, so what we have to say about the Arequipa Portico. I mean, this is, you call it a portico. I would have called this a colonnade with that, with the series of columns here and this building this lovely vaulting structure. They got the light just right here. I mean, I just love this repetition of the way the vaulting and the columns, they form a leading line, headed off down towards, the little frame of the town in the distance. It's just, it's beautiful, okay? The kind of the only real probably defect here is there seems to be kind of a gentle curve here, which I suspect is some lens distortion, and I don't know whether that's correctable or not. I kind of just said, it's cool, I'm gonna leave, I'm not, I'm just gonna enjoy it, thanks. I also enjoyed this group down front just having fun, bringing us in to the image. And then kind of this little contrast here. We have the police down in the corner and this row of security cameras. So we're seeing we're seeing this combination of modern enjoyment and history all kind of combined together in one really impressive image. So whoever made it to Arequipa and brought that back for us, thanks loads. That's a great image.
Yeah, I found the image tonally to be, the same. Yes, I agree with you on the tonality of the image. All of the things that you had talked about in the positive sense, I really do like. And it's only a personal preference, nothing else. I would have, if possible, waited for the small group in the lower right-hand corner to either exit the scene, or to have been photographed earlier in the scene. I just don't like cutting people off in the middle of their bodies. That's my only gripe on the entire thing. I thought it was an excellent image. So, yeah.
Larry?
I agree with both of you as far as the tonality and the, I agree with everybody on the tonality and the arches and the symmetry of it all. As far as the group in the front, the only thing that I have to say about it is they're not the primary subject, so I don't think they count as far as having them cut off halfway. Just like the cops on the bottom left corner, you only got their heads of a couple of them. I think they're just incidental in the image, and I think everything else really outweighs the negatives in here. I love the symmetry. I really like the framing of the background at the very end. I think that comes across really nice, especially the hazy tone to it that kind of gives it a distant, faraway look.
Gives it some depth, yes.
And I just realized that probably the way this was made, I'm just guessing, because the photographer is actually above everybody. So they're probably in a vehicle. Could be a bus, a car with the window open, and so my gripe of the people is null and void, because you can't, as the vehicle probably was stopped, you had no choice. You took the picture. I think otherwise it's a wonderful picture.
Yeah, I think we want to hear from the photographer, hopefully, at some point.
Yeah.
This is a really cool image.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mine. Okay. it's good to see that most everybody is able to get these great black and white images done. Technically, the only thing that I see on this is that we've lost any detail in the pants and the clothing itself. I'm sure there are some wrinkles and folds and things of that nature that are in their clothing that could have been saved or salvaged in this. So that's on the technical side on that. The weapons that they're carrying, same kind of thing. It's lost. I see the gentleman on the left. He's got some kind of weapon on his right hip, and then the fellow who looks kind of like a judge in the top hat seems to have something on his left hip, and it's just we're missing what it is they're doing or what they're supposed to be in this. So, next.
Larry? Anything?
I don't really have anything else to add. It's
Pretty much the same thing. I would have, we kind of have a little trouble with the bright spot in the top right, on the top right corner. It's distracting and leads the eye off to nowhere. It just seems a shame that we went to all the trouble to costume appropriately, and then we can't see the details. I mean, a little fill flash would have been maybe, or some HDR would have been helpful here, because yeah, I'm missing the details in the clothes, and I don't know, they look kind of bored, but props to getting everybody together to do this. Next.
Is this mine?
Dirty car, very old dirty car
Oh, very dirty old car?
that somebody says still works.
Yeah.
Okay.
While this old Camaro RS has seen better days, the title doesn't really match up to the image. The image looks a little brighter and washed. I don't really see dirt as much as I see. I like the tones in it, but the title leads you astray, because I don't see dirt. I just see an old, beat-up old car. But I mean, in the image, I like the vice grips on the door handle on the left. I like the pliers on the seat. The only place I really see dirt is on the driver's seat, and basically it's out of focus on the top of the driver's seat on the bottom center of the image. Other than that, yeah, it almost looks like it's been scrubbed with light, we'll say. But I like what they were going for. I think it's a good shot overall. And I think if it had a different title, I would have been looking at this in a whole different light. Pardon the pun.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Patrick.
Okay. This one, I love this type of tonal range. It's a really high contrast, but the maker made sure that they kept a full range of tones of gray throughout the entire thing. It's kind of hard to photograph an interior of a car, even a brand new, spitless, spotless, cleaned kind of vehicle, much less one that has got character. This one has character. I think it's a wonderful shot with respect to the tonality of this whole thing. I love that kind of stuff on vehicles and horses and things of this nature. So, yeah.
I think I decided early on that the title of this piece should have just been called Beater.
I agree.
Because it is. I love the full range of tonality in it, all the detail. You're trying to ignore the subject of this car is that it is beat to heck. And obviously falling apart and held together with some vice grips and and such. I think, and this probably isn't much because I didn't catch on to this till I looked at it again later. Looking out the windows, I'm pretty sure that the texture out the windows is added in. I don't think that's the real background out the windows. I think there's some places there where it had a little trouble around the edges of the windshield, and making me think that that background out of the windows, you know, was totally artificial. But I'm not taking much off of that because I thought it was really a cool image. And obviously Larry's more of a car guy because he was like, oh yeah, it's a Camaro RS, and I didn't catch that. Anyway, so thanks for the image. I still think the scariest part of this image is the current inspection sticker.
This one is.
Okay, I think that was mine.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, I had to look this one up, it looked familiar, and yeah, it looks like it's the Blanton. They did they added this between this sculpture of the, I'm not sure what you call those columns, those things in between, in the courtyard there between the buildings?
Installments.
What's that?
Installments?
Okay, the installation there. It's obvious, it's an art installation, but the light and the shadow in this one is just spectacular. I mean, I really enjoy it tremendously. The way it's arranged here, it's got lots of depth, starting with the sidewalk and then going through the people all the way back to another colonnade back there, and then the light coming through the art installation and showing on the walls like that. The other thing, I'm looking at the monitor here, and it's different from mine, but I was able to, on mine at home, I'm able to see the details of the wall to the left and the wall to the left over here and the arch over here to the right, okay, as a framing element. And I like the frame. I just had a problem that the wall over here wasn't straight. So a little, you know, you go into Lightroom and you do your cropping and you get a little grid there and you can line it up and make it straight. So sorry, not intending to be insulting to anybody. It's a great image, you know. But I liked the frame. I was less thrilled with there's obviously some sort of board up there. Along the left-hand side here is I think the sign for the Blanton, and you know, the only word you can see is art, you know, so it's kind of annoying that that's all it shows there, you know. So yeah, some of this is choice about what to bring in and what to leave out. Either stepping forward a little bit or stepping back a little bit would make this would make this a little clearer. But thank you. I thought this was just a beautiful image. So next.
Yeah, sorry. I looked at this and I'm going to talk about the two negative things. Well, actually, it's only one negative thing now. That is the signage on the left-hand side where it says art. If that could have been found, if you could have found a way to get around that, move in slightly to get that out of the picture. But I like what turned out to be the high contrast black side on the right-hand side. On my monitor, that also had gray tones to it, as Charles had mentioned, and I didn't appreciate that, but as a darker element, I really do. So those two negatives, that's it. Otherwise, I think this is such a fun image. It reminds me of research that I've done on 1960s fashion, like a Vogue fashion shoot that was done in black and white. That the model would have been in a black outfit, It could have been flowing. We would have had, a big hat to go with it, that kind of thing. That's what this reminds me of. I love those installments in there. Those are fantastic. And
I'm sure we can find you a model willing to do that.
I bet you could. But I thought it was just a fun thing, fun location and a wonderful image. Congrats to the maker.
All right.
And I'm really with Patrick on this. I like the image. It's a lot of fun. I liked all the different tonal elements in here. Everything has its own life, so to speak. The sign on the left where you can, as Charles pointed out with the art, yeah, that's definitely the biggest problem I see in the whole image. I love the framing. I'm not sure about the walkway in the bottom of the image. I bounce back and forth. Part of me likes it, part of me doesn't like it. And it's just, I think that's just a personal thing right
I
there.
agree with that.
But overall, it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's just so much happening in there. I mean, you could wander around in there for a long time and just,
Yeah, if the walkway was brighter, it would have been distracting, but no, it's gray enough and has enough texture
Right.
that I think it just adds depth. But, that was part of our lively discussion
Right.
of this one.
Yeah, we did. We were all, up and down about that, so, yep. Oh, this one.
Somebody else gets the elephant.
Oh, I get the elephants. Okay, the elephants in the water. Okay. Elephants in the water. Okay. So it was already 95% black and white. Then make it a silhouette, because I've got gray tones in there in the elephants, and either give me detail in the elephants or don't. But don't make it gray. And it pretty much is a panoramic image to begin with. I think the upper portion of it was visible. There was more stuff visible up there, but not on the screen.
On this monitor.
Yeah, it's not showing up on that. So either give the viewer some details in the shadows, or really saturate those blacks so that they're a true silhouette without any gray. That's my only gotcha on that. I think it's a cute image of all these elephants trudging across the water, So, yeah, next.
Larry?
and I agree with Patrick again. The little bit of gray is distracting. I'm not sure about the water. That's something about the water that's kind of, but you can't help that either. It's just, I'm having a hard time putting a finger on just what it is in the image that kind of doesn't click with me. But overall, it's fun. I like it, especially if it would be more of just a pure silhouette.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that. I think I'm seeing a lot of noise in the water, and that bugs me. And I think I agree with Patrick about detail. I was seeing, I was again across the top of the image. I was on my monitor anyway. I was seeing something up there, but I wasn't getting it detailed. And so, yeah, I'm when it comes to black backgrounds like that, I mean, you're like, well, I either want it to be all the way black, or I want me to see the detail. I don't want to see, you're going to hear this comment again and again. If there's something there, I want to see it. If there's not anything there, darken it out so I can't see it.
And I do feel that this is definitely a tight crop of a larger image.
That's probably true. That's probably where the noise is coming from. But I mean, I appreciate, whoever went out there in the bush and found themselves, I mean, this is not the San Diego Zoo here, guys. Okay? So, I mean, I'm appreciating whoever went out there and got this for us, from that aspect, so pardon us while we rag on.
And I don't know if anybody else caught the bottom left corner. I don't know if that's a hippo or what in the water there.
Yeah.
I
Again,
just saw it, yeah.
Yeah. Don't know.
Don't know.
Same problem, yeah. You're right. So, Larry, I think you're a predator.
I am a predator. And it's my birthday, and you ain't gonna like me.
Okay.
Back to the old Leslie Gore song.
Okay.
I think the title sums this up nicely. It's a very striking image, done nicely. While someone may not agree with the highlights coming from the waves in the background, I really think it helps set the mood and the tone for the image itself. I think this is outstanding. I really, really like this one.
Okay. I'm in slight disagreement on the tonal range in the, with the light coming through the waves at the top. I would have liked to have seen that come in a touch bit darker, I guess. And I'm intrigued over how the two hammerhead sharks, or the two sharks, I'm not sure the other one's a hammerhead, are so perfectly in focus. And the depth of field is incredible. So kudos on that.
Yeah, I think the other one's a bull
Oh,
Okay.
shark.
okay. I'm not
That's
short with
outside
it.
my
He's-
scope.
My wife's been watching Shark Week ever since it started.
Oh, okay.
So I'm being sharked out.
You should-
Hopefully you haven't been forced to watch Sharknado.
No,
Good.
I don't do Sharknado.
I had to do that for I had to do that for back when I worked, we had an offsite, and we went to see Sharknado. The mind just boggles.
Okay.
Your turn.
Anyway, yes, I mean, yeah, it's an impressive image. I'm like, how the heck did you get there? You know, how the heck did you get there? I'm impressed with the hammerhead. You know, that's a really great part of the image. The rest of it, it just seemed like it was kind of washed out. I mean, it didn't have the full tonal range there that I was looking for. And so, I mean, while it's a fantastic image, I mean, it's another one of those capturing the moment things, you know, that you can't pay to get that. It didn't make the top of my list because it didn't have, you know, it just didn't have enough tonal range. It wasn't striking enough. So, I mean, props to whoever went in the shark cage, or maybe this is an aquarium and we're looking through a wall. I really don't know. Whoever pulled it off, props to you. But yeah, I was just looking for something a little more, you know, a little more tonal range, a little more contrast. Thanks. Okay. I think my compatriots were happy that I got to review this one.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. This is down at the Blanton again, as far as I can tell. I mean, to me, actually, the best part of the image, you know, is actually this tonal range here of the architecture here. How we have the dark stone, you know, banded with lighter stone, getting lighter and lighter and lighter all the way up here. And then the lines of the stairwell running across it. Those, you know, were very interesting. And then of course we have this person here, you know, it's a phone. You know, everybody's taking pictures with their phone, right? I mean, I resemble that remark. But there's just, the what's up is unanswered. You know, we have this hanging sculpture, mobile, whatever this is, you know, coming down from the top left to the bottom, and you can't tell what it is. It stays a question. And the other problem I have with this image is the huge expanse of white up at the top. Okay, it attracts your eye, it takes you up there, and there's nothing up there. This could have easily been you know, cropped down. You know, I mean, there's nothing up there really that I'm looking at. I mean, unless you care that she's looking up there. I mean, there's nothing up there that's really all that interesting. It's not enough to tell us more about the mobile. But it's too little to be interesting. So I think cropping down from the top would have been would have enhanced this image quite a bit, frankly. But I like the tonal range from the, I like the tonal range from the bottom of the wall up to the top. And the angles running across it, the geometry there was excellent. I enjoyed that part. So thanks for bringing it to us. Anybody else want to comment?
No, I think you pretty much covered everything on that,
Go ahead.
No, you?
I agree with Charles. I basically believe if they cut it off where the white begins on the top, if that was just cropped right out, this would be a much more dynamic image.
Well, that's why we do this, to get feedback. Except for those people that just got them in. Anyway, so next, who's
Oh, me.
working? Yeah, Patrick.
Okay. Lots of things going on in this picture. Technically, the tonal range is wonderful. We got whites, we got blacks, we got lots of grays in between. The part that gets me is the cropping on this. The bumper on the left-hand side is cropped at the edge. The wheel on the right-hand side is cropped at the bottom, and then at the rear end of the car, it's basically cropped right. Yeah, the fender is kind of cropped tight and gone. The statement or the title 1920s versus 2020s is excellent because we know that the building behind it is a modern building and we've got this antique car. Show me more of what's around the car then. That's my only gotcha on all of this, is that it's just too tight on the crop is what I see. So.
Larry?
I'm just going to sum this up real quick. Cropping bad, tonal range great.
Mostly, I would have liked to see a little more detail on this side of the car. The detail of the car kind of disappears on the bonnet. Yes, I'm going to call it a bonnet. It's old enough, I can call it that. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to call it 20s, 1920s, 2020s, you got to show me more of the 2020s. The contrast, we have a visual contrast, but we don't have enough there to really say anything about it. And with the cropping issue, I'm kind of with Patrick. It's either crop it in or crop it out. Don't do it part way. Doing the edge of a bumper means we want to see the rest of it. You want to crop it in closer, so that we can tell you did it on purpose, right? Fine, but putting it on the edge makes us just
Uneasy.
And I thought going back to the title, it would have been a lot more impressive title if they would add something like a C8 Corvette parked next to it instead of the building.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
That would have been fun.
That would have been fun. I got a friend that's got a Corvette. Talk to me. We can arrange this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a C8, but I mean, it's an older one. Anyway, next.
Oh, I think this is me.
Yep.
Larry's got this.
I really like this image. It's really striking, and it was a wonderful idea. But I'd like to see a little more detail in the pedals because I know those pedals have a lot more detail to them. I think they're just a little too washed out is probably the biggest part of it. And yeah, a little more post would have probably taken this to a whole different level. Post-processing. I love the detail of the stamen or whatever those are in the middle.
We're losing
Yes.
our technical terms because we're not flower guys.
The middle of the flower. How's that?
The
That's-
squiggly parts.
The squiggly parts of the flower. How's that? I love it, Larry. That's great.
Okay.
Because I can talk about the squiggly parts. Okay. I like this image. This is probably one of my top images out of the group, and the detail in the flower petals themselves. I was okay with what we saw And the TV, now I have to go and say, woo, we overdid the contrast, because there was a lot of detail in the background. And it really added to the overall story of this, because there were some leaves and what have you, greenery in the background that they had left. And it really added to the whole feel of this image. So I really think it's a wonderful image. I don't think I have anything, me, Mr. I've been negative all night long. I have yet to come up with anything negative on this. I think it's fantastic.
I don't disagree, I don't disagree with Patrick, I agree, but I do agree with Larry. I wanted to see a little more detail in the petals. I think the lighting on this is just excellent. I mean, that it just pops that image out of there. Yeah, sorry, this TV's, giving it up. But yeah, I wanted to see a little more detail. You want to talk about luminosity blending? I think you can probably pop some of that up and bring up a little bit, and you don't have to be the whole image. It can just be masked off into the petals to bring them up. But yeah, thanks for bringing this image. It's clearly, if it's not the best, it's really close.
I think this would have been a great use of HDR if they would have used it.
Well, that's the other way of doing it is luminosity masks. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got this one. Okay, well, so what we had to say about this one was, of course, that's not monochrome. The black and white image with an orange streak across the middle. That's not monochrome, guys. So you got counted off of that. Having said that, we looked at it anyway, and it's a very interesting image. I mean, if this had been a different category, I would have really liked the orange across behind the spider web, and it's an interesting composition. Now there's a lot of noise in it, and when I'm looking at it, the focal point, I'm expecting the focal point to be right here at the center of the spider web. It's over here. So, I know this isn't easy, but this is like catching, getting the eye in focus. Center of the spider web should be in focus, and it's not. So apart from the okay, yeah, you didn't get the title right. You didn't meet the qualifications for this particular contest. I liked it. I mean, it has great texture in the over here in the post over here, or whatever it is that we're looking at. I mean, I like the texture there. That was really great, and I like the way the spider web kind of disappears off there. I mean, clearly there was an attempt here to do selective focus and have the spider web be in focus here, and then lose focus and disappear off into the background. Good try. It's just not quite the right focal point. But thanks very much for bringing it, and we'll talk about it later if you want. Any other comments?
I think if they would have actually stayed within the parameters of the qualifications for the images, they actually had the potential to make this something far superior to what it is now. Especially if they would have darkened the web and used it as dark tones instead of lightening that up. If they would have left the white shading on the right and then made the spider web contrasting with dark, that would have really done a lot more than it's doing now.
How about you, Patrick? Got anything to say?
No. No.
Okay.
Okay, this one's mine. This is the Texas Spring #7. Hopefully they make it to 8, 9, and 10. So, but okay. So it's an interesting image. When I first saw it, I was kind of wondering, are we trying to emulate infrared photography with it? Because it just kind of came across that way. with the highlights out there in the, in the bushes out there, and the lighting on the grass, on the ground and everything in the background. But I think that, well, this, again, this monitor is cutting off the tonal range, because there was a little bit more tonal range in the foliage on the like the bushes that were on the left-hand side. What I would have liked to have seen was I see some flowers down here in the bottom kind of thing. Yeah, right down in that area, yeah. And if, I would have tried, myself, I would have tried to pull them out a little bit more and create a feel of, initially my thought on this was, oh, okay, here's a small little grassy area that you could go and lay down and enjoy the springtime. Well, you don't do that in Texas because of the critters. But that's what it kind of came across to me as. This was a nice, cool, shaded area. And I was like, it almost got there, but it didn't quite. So I really appreciate what the maker was trying to do, and keep working at it, because I think it'll get there. An image similar to this, maybe number 8 or number 6, I don't know. But yeah.
Larry, got anything?
And I really applaud them for trying to make something out of what most people would look at and not see anything.
Yeah.
I think they actually had a good vision for something here. And I do agree that, yeah, it does have that little bit of an element, like they were trying to go IR with it, as far as the tones that they were casting. But yeah, overall, it's something that kind of grows on me. I mean, I'm stopping.
All right, since we had as many images, we actually will have 4 images that are selected by the judges. And the honorable mention goes to Cody with the stroll through the shadows.
There you go.
Roberto with the gristmill in Vermont is 3rd place. If you hand him a microphone, would you like to say anything about it?
Say what?
If you take the microphone, would you like to say anything
Oh,
about?
this was Vermont.
You gotta grab the mic.
It's rural Vermont. We were just driving through. I was actually looking for these covered bridges in the area. Found a few of them, about 4 or 5 of them. And I was going by this mill and decided to stop and take some pictures. There was something close by to the left that I wanted to exclude. That's why it was kind of tight here. And so I thought it was interesting, the textures and all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about it.
Do you think water ever ran through it?
There was a creek in the back. Yeah, I went around and looked, and there was a creek. It kind of went down, and there was a creek in the back here. So I'm not sure what goes on there, but it was an old building, and it looked so interesting. So I thought I'd stop and get some shots.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thanks for bringing it. All right.
2nd place, Jim.
I think Jim is here, isn't he?
Okay. Oh, hit my head again. Okay, and then 1st place was by Rose.
She's online.
Looks Georgia O'Keeffe inspired.
I don't know if we got enough speaker to let her comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's online, she's muted right now.
Is she paying attention? You can join us, Rose. We'd love to hear how you did this.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move forward.
Yeah, because
Okay, so then this is the viewer's choice. We have a silver. So there were a tie for second. So Jim with the elephants, and Ed
Yeah,
with his very old dirty car.
Are you still driving that thing?
Only to go get it inspected.
Would you like to talk about how you made it at all?
25 there, man.
Hand him a microphone.
By the way, if you don't think it's dirty, I'll take you for a ride.
Well, but that didn't show up as much in the.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, honestly.
It's fine dirt, but,
Ground in dirt, as it were?
yeah, 50-year-old dirt. Actually, not that old. This was actually 5 shots. What do you do?
Composite.
HDR this?
Composited.
Yeah, I HDR'd it, right.
Okay.
So, anyway, and the tool on the window, that's necessary because that handle fell off a long time. It does drive, it drives well, but I wouldn't trust it.
What about the windows that bugged me? Did you do that, or is that my
I
imagination?
think I might have just blurred the windows. Unfortunately, my monitor's not showing the window.
No, okay.
I didn't change it.
Uh-huh.
I may have masked it out and blurred it, but
Yeah, 'cause that's what it looks
That's what
like.
I was thinking, was that you blurred it in some way because it looked like the mask was a little uneven in spots.
that's probably what I did, yeah.
Is that an actual gate shifter on that thing?
An actual what?
Gate shifter?
Yeah, it's an automatic. Right.
You mean ratchet type? No.
Yeah.
No,
Think so.
no, it's just automatic, just the way they made them.
Okay, and then Rose's picture was the gold medal winner from the People's Choice.
And Rose, you can still comment if you want.
Okay, in our last category, we have our last level is the advanced, and there are 6 images. Man and boot. Big guy.
Over,
A gathering of pads. Google Tower. On the Rocks. The Lost Souls.
okay, overall, I like this image a lot. The dappling of the shadows adds a really nice touch and expression on the, of the man is great. The composition and the lighting were well done. And I believe some time in post would have really helped this out. I think he needed a little more light on those pants because the way they are, they just kind of look like they're pasted into the picture. Because there's no definition to them, they're just kind of there.
Yeah,
There's a little haloing on
the pants
a
are,
little haloing.
they've been masked.
There,
Yeah.
So, yeah, they could have used a little work, but, yeah, no, it's an interesting image, you know. Its biggest problem was the other 5 it was up against.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't a bad image among them,
No.
you know. So, but yeah, you know, I think Patrick was the one with a little comment on this. I mean, the kind of the white patch on the man's ear is a little disconcerting. That seems like that's blown out a little bit, you know, and you know, I enjoy the dappled light on the image. I mean, that's better than I've been able to do it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's just kind of an odd placement of that particular white spot. Maybe a little toning it down in post. Maybe it already was toned down in post.
Well,
Patrick?
yeah, I mean, looking at it from, you know, at this size, the dappling is actually, it works. I agree with Larry on that and Charles, that the interesting pattern across, it's just to say things like interesting pattern across the top of the man's head. But that ear, the right ear, could have been brought down just a little bit. Otherwise, yeah, it's a fun image. And yes, it was up against some 5 other images that were, you know,
Really good.
really good. So, yep.
Big guy. Okay, that would be me. I thought this was a great image. You know, the reflection was very well done, and the lighting you know, the striking lighting coming in from the side, I thought was just very impressive, very striking. It's mixed on this monitor, but I was seeing it on my monitor too. There's some stuff in the background behind the rhinoceros, above the reflection, you know, that bugs me. It's one of those things. It looks like there's a background there, but I just can't quite see it. So, you know, either bring up the background or get in there and clone it out completely. And that's really kind of the only defect I've got here. It has this little random spots of reflections out of the background that are just distracting. I'm not as bothered by the stuff that's on the surface of the water, because that helps me see that it's really a reflection. If there's nothing there, you know, I start to wonder whether somebody just flipped it, you know, did a composite and flipped the top to the bottom. But the junk, for lack of a better word, on the water down below lets me know, oh yeah, it really isn't a reflection. So I don't count off of that. I think it's a great image. Anybody else?
Yeah, no, I found it to be rather interesting. Yeah, all of the technical aspects of tonal range, focus, things of that nature are just really dynamic here. The reflection is fantastic. My only question to the maker is, how many fill flashes did you use? Because you got, I mean, the lighting is very strong from the left side of the image, but yet the rhinoceros it seems to be perfectly lit all the way to the rear on the right-hand side. So maybe it's just magic in post-processing. I don't know, but that's the only confusing part to me. Otherwise, I thought it was a fantastic image.
I liked it a lot. I love the tonal detail. I love the amount of detail. The spots, I didn't know if they were stars or just reflections off of something. I actually even wondered if this is not really a real rhinoceros, but like a clay figure.
Only the maker knows.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find out later on.
Oh, gathering of the pads. I like this picture in general. And after having a conversation with my two colleagues, I've agreed that the foliage that comes in on the reflection at the top is appropriate. At first I didn't. This is, okay, yeah, in the images, in the image that we saw on our own monitors, the stem coming up on the large petal, if you will, that one, that was very visible in the original image. This screen is, we've got a little too much contrast or darkness to it. I liked it in general. I thought that the texture of the lily pads was fantastic. The smooth water was excellent. The treatment of the whole thing, just very well done, very well done.
And I love pretty much everything about this, from the details that were up at the top to the reflection of the clouds up at the top. I really like the surface tension of the lily pads on the water. I think that really adds a lot to the image itself. It really brings a lot of life to it, as does that one stem that Patrick was just talking about on the largest of the pads. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about it, really.
Yeah, beautiful image. Better on a better monitor, because you can see there was detail to be seen, in the reflection of the water down below here as well. And yes, this stem gives it depth, makes it show that this water lily pad's actually standing up out of the water. And so it had great depth in it. I looked at it and it looked to me like there was some post done on it. Somebody said it looked like somebody did a channel pull on the green, you know, to make the to make the pads just pop out above everything else. But just excellent image. Just, you know, green with envy I am, not just green in the image. Anyway, good job.
I really like the surrealistic mood. While the reflection is a nice touch, this is an iconic image that almost every, or I should say, most pictures I've seen of the Google Tower have a reflection in them. And I think it's kind of overdone, just my personal preference. I would actually cut it off right where those riffles begin.
What, over here?
Yeah, right along there, exactly. And added a little more to the top. Because I like what the clouds are doing, and I think we're missing some of what the clouds are doing. When I was talking with my colleagues, I'm sorry?
Who's muttering?
But, while we were talking about the top, the part on the top left really seems kind of a little odd, but I like the way that the top center and to the right, what the clouds are doing up there.
Yeah, I like the general image because I just like architectural work in general. And I do like the reflections in the water. I think that's a nice added element to the whole picture. The couple of things that I found that were just a little bit of work might have helped. There's a tiny bit of shadowing on the building behind the Google Tower, right in that, where it meets the sky to the left. Yeah, in that area. And that was kind of intriguing to see. And then the only other thing, the stripe of white sky back there on the left-hand side, down, no, right there at the horizon. Yeah. That was a little bothersome. I was like, if we're going to do that dark sky, let's maybe take it all the way down to the other buildings. I know we've got it over on the far right-hand side, and it makes perfect sense from a weather person's mind that that's going to be there, but architecture you get to play with. It's amazing what I've seen and what I'm sure everybody else has seen, the kind of stuff that people do for architectural work. But this is a very nice rendition. I like it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Again, this is the, you know, this is the only thing wrong with this is the other 5 images. Honestly, I like the reflection. You know, Larry was kind of like, you know, lose that. But no, I think the reflection actually is part of the attraction to this. I think if you lost the bottom off of here, you know, it would be, you know, it'd just be another image of the Google Tower. Now, apparently you've seen a lot of images of the Google Tower. The problem that I had with this was it looked to me like we got haloing around these buildings. Just this white halo around the edges of the buildings that bugs me. Okay, that part, you know, is something that probably happened in post that bugs me, and that's really the only defect I see.
Especially since you don't see it in the reflection.
Oh, you do actually.
You do in one spot, but
Yeah, you see that. You can see that down there. There's some of that there too, but it just doesn't.
But it's not as striking down below as it is up top.
It just doesn't. It just looks wrong. So, anyway, but thank you very much. It's a great image, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes, on the rocks. But there's no twist of line to go with it. Oh, sorry. Anyway, no, I thought this was a beautiful exposure. I mean, just the water flowing through the rocks and the way the lights and the light and shadow plays on this one. Actually, the light actually seems to move I'll use the pointer, I guess, the light to me actually seemed to move from the top right, you know, down towards the left. So, you know, and it just kind of swirled around a bit. And of course the brightest, like you want, the brightest part of the image, right there in the middle. So great lighting, the flow of the water is just well captured, the way it swirls around like that. The texture in the image, all the lichen, the rocks, just beautiful image. You know, and the wear on the rocks from this obvious from the water flowing over them for the years. It just, all of that's popping out of this image, so well done.
Yeah, you know, the tonal range, the texture on this is fantastic. There's, you know, the rocks in the foreground are where you'd like them to be focus-wise. There's reasonable focus all the way, it seems to be all the way to the rear. You know, the tonal range and the swirling of the water was very nice. Personally, I just didn't find this to capture my eye that much. So, personal preference.
Larry?
As the two of you have said before, this just had 5 other images to compete against. Otherwise, I really did like it. It's got a lot of good range to it. I do like I like the range on it. I like the light, the way the light does move through the image. It really has some good presence with the way the light flows through the image. Overall, I do like it.
Okay. And this one's mine. So I did make notes. I'm just thinking about it. It's rather ominous, I called it in my notes. I mean, they're silly questions to ask. Why are these souls lost, you know? Were they going, where are they going, or better yet, where are they, where are they going, or are they getting caught in limbo forever, never to be found? I mean, because the title says they're lost souls, it's interesting in that sense. And the highlight, the white rim on the edges, if you're going to do it on a couple, I think the one that's on the right-hand side that's got just a kind of a halo, but not a really strong, like the one on the left, yeah, that one. Yeah, maybe they should have been done with a high contrast white line as well, because then it would have really looked as though they were lost. Or treat all of them like the one in the center. There's 3 in the center. Let's see, if I just move this just, oh, okay. Those 3 right there. So if you were to treat these ones over here with the same haloing that's on these 3 and do it over here, that would have been really, really an interesting picture. And I'm assuming these are mannequins of some sort or stand up. I mean, they look like cardboard cutouts maybe. But I love the sky along with it. I mean, the whole thing, kudos to the maker for trying to bring us this wonderful image that they've created. This is obviously a creation of their mind, and I think it's fantastic in that sense.
Definitely a dark mind, but I really like the cloud that's up on the top left. It really adds to the image. And I agree with Patrick on the haloing of the people. I think that the real strong ones are kind of overdone. I like the 3 in the middle, as he pointed out. Those are good, as is this one on the far right. That's just a nice, a little more than just a faint halo on them. Overall, it's a very interesting, and while somewhat disturbing, it's a well-done image.
It looks like an art exhibit someplace, you know?
Yeah.
Could be.
It looks like like we're taking pictures of, taking an image of somebody's art installation. with that with that cloud in the background. I don't know how they did that. I wasn't as picky as you were about the halos around the images, but I mean, I think they served their purpose. You know,
I think what it is with some of them, and I'm noticing it now while you were talking, that the ones that we picked out, they're more feathered than just sharp. And I like the feather.
Yeah, I like the feathering more than the sharp white line. Yeah.
so, anyway, so yeah, so this may be, you know, some of this may be, you know, maybe the angle, you know, how close we are to the installation. I'd like to know, you know, honestly, you know, what this is, whether this is something that the photographer set up just for this, or whether this is some art installation that we can go see.
You say installation, and the way you're saying about too close, I keep thinking about rads.
Okay. All right, I think we've said everything we want to say on that then.
Okay, since we had whatever, six images, we only have 2 of the judges' choices, and second place goes to Dennis.
Listening to us rag on you there for 5 minutes.
You want to take the microphone and talk about how you did it?
Well, I was just walking downtown in the morning, and I'm always walking around there looking for shots, and I just happened to come up on this spot, and the sun was just coming up, and it was actually a little bit brighter than I wanted, but this picture turned out good. I like the image. Last time I got dinged for not having the mirror image on the bottom.
No.
And I didn't.
That way.
I think that was part of the bright sky in the background on that left-hand side, but I see your point there that, you know, I'll go back and play with that and see if I can change it a little bit.
Is this about where, this looks like this is about where the Stevie Ray statue is? Or is it farther west?
It's part of the walkway, but then you had to get down a little bit to stand out to get the brush all around you away.
Okay, and then first place went to Gary, and
Gary.
he's not here today. Okay, and then
People's choice?
the People's Choice, we end up with 4 images because there were some ties.
Okay.
So On the Rocks was a bronze.
Gabriel. What, was this about a half second, or?
Would you like to talk about it? Take a microphone.
Just take it apart, yeah.
Yeah, just take it apart.
No, he's got the.
I got the right part.
microphone.
It's got a light on in it. This is 1 and some fractions of a bracket, and I chose the image to get the water appearance first, and then filled in some to get the brightness on the upper left-hand side to get the uniformity across the image and get an image that I could really say, I want to present this one.
Okay, so this is a composite of various of the same spot.
Yeah, it's basically an HDR without using HDR tools.
Okay. All right. You blended it. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
All right, and another bronze is this one, which I took, and this is in Munich. This is at the Oktoberfest. There was a bombing that happened, and it turns out that only like 8 people died, but 200 and some were injured. And so this is kind of a memorial, and so those are actually flat plexiglass that are lit from within. But I wanted to get the clouds and everything, and so the parts that are brighter and darker, it's because all those are at different angles. These flat plexiglass cutouts that are black on the front and the back, some of them actually would have words that talk about the people and stuff. But this is at the edge of the grounds when you go, if you were going into Oktoberfest. I wasn't there when Oktoberfest was going on, but I did get this.
So like we see sometimes in model work, there's like light from under, light running up through the plexiglass from the bottom. Probably.
Yeah, yeah. And you can walk all through them. I mean, it's like gravel, and you walk through a whole crowd of these people, and it's near where the bomb was set off. And
Stay away from bombs.
yeah. Okay, silver went to Dennis. And Nick with the gold for the People's Choice. All right, so now we're back to the normal slide that I have that says that we're always looking for judges. And I think that there were some that volunteered last time, but I don't remember who they were. So whoever would like to judge, please let me know. I'll send out an email on Monday reminding everyone also. And our next one is macro photography, and all the images have to be less than 2 years old. And then this is a reminder more for people that maybe are watching this online, that people can join our club for $24 for yearly dues. And once you're a paying member, then you can enter photos in these competitions. But there's also many other benefits of being a member that you can see on our website.
You too can have people rag on your images in public.
One of the other things you get to do is you get to be one of the people that vote in the.
There we go, yeah, you could be a voting
You could
member.
be a judge, but they're the People's Choice. There's a lot of different activities that we do. So it is.
Okay, so it lets you rag on other people's images. Okay, here you go.
So the big thing is that I was just asked to remind people that, you know, we can join. I think that everyone here is already paid up, and if not, Clay will let you know. But and then, is there any other business from the president or?
Just thank everybody that put their images in, because we don't have a competition without it. Sorry you got ragged on, but you know you're competing against other people. We have to critique. Sorry.
And don't
keep putting them in. We liked them.
And I really feel that I get a lot out of hearing about all these different pictures. Just things like, oh yeah, if you did this, maybe that would help. And you don't always have to agree. The judges can't even agree. So it gives you some different things to think about in your
We
images.
resemble that remark.
It's just
don't we?
proof that everybody does everything different.
Yeah. So it's not that these guys know what's right and that everyone is doing stuff wrong, but that I think that it's everyone looking at pictures in different ways and thinking of other ways to maybe improve their own pictures, even though we're talking about pictures that may not be your own. And so I find it very helpul.
Okay, that's why
You
I
had
volunteered
something
to
else
be
you
a
wanted to
judge.
say,
Yep.
So I could learn, and I learned nothing.
right?
But you got your smart pills.
Yeah,
Apparently the smart ass is still here. So thank you very much.
yeah. Okay, so I do have one thing. Next week is our normal speakers week, and okay, it didn't work. So we don't have a speaker is what I'm trying to say. So in lieu of that, Gary and I had talked about, and I have not run this past Gary for next week, so if you're watching Gary, sorry about this. We thought about what Carol had suggested 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, 3 weeks ago, and that is to have headshots. And so whether Gary will bring his studio setup, I will bring mine, and I will be more than happy to shoot studio-style headshots of everyone. And I promise you'll get them this time because you know where to find me. You know? So, yeah, I know our guest speaker from January offered to, you know, and that didn't happen. So, but we will, I'll be more than happy to shoot headshots next week if you'd like to do that.
Is this also going to be an opportunity to bring your camera and take pictures? Or is this going to be using your flashes, or are there going to be constant lighting that other people can try taking some pictures? Should we be bringing our cameras?
Okay, so
Other photographic
I have a trigger that I can program for Nikon and Canon. Okay, I'll put it that way. I don't think it can, the trigger doesn't work with a Sony. It has a
So
different trigger.
all of your stuff would be flash.
Yeah, everything I was gonna do is flash, yeah.
Is this the Godox?
I'm sorry, no, it's Westcott. I've got, yeah,
So
I've,
sorry, your Godox trigger isn't gonna work. Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
if you have a Godox slave that you can plug in to a flash, then yeah, you could use a
No, I was
Godox.
just gonna volunteer to bring mine, so.
Well, if you brought yours, then we wouldn't be conflicting with each other. Because I'm shooting Westcott and my signal won't interfere with your signal. So,
I was just thinking if anybody wanted to share.
yeah.
Carol says, yes, bring camera because maybe you want to.
Oh, yeah, have a camera in your hand, yeah. Yeah, as a prop, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever you
but you
want.
guys are gonna have to look better than you do today. I'm just telling you, you're gonna have to look a little better if you're gonna have your pictures taken next week.
So, okay, that's my offer. I'll bring the gear and we'll shoot for an hour and a half or so, or 2 hours.
So if we do that, then there will be no online version. There will be no Zoom meeting next time. We don't have a speaker, but we will have this photographic opportunity at our normal location up in the church.
Yes, we will be upstairs.
Okay. Is that it? Okay, we can, thank you everyone for coming today, and I'm glad that we, it's a little late getting started, but we were able to make it all work.